Great awakening, people. It's Home Boom. It's another segment of the Hold Up Show. It's a Saturday morning. I'm a little tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I'll get into it. Nothing bad. Just didn't get much sleep last night. But I wanted to get on here and just express how I'm feeling for the day. Spread some love. Hopefully, something comes out. That can maybe help someone's day or someone's life or someone's own journey in this world of figuring out whoever they are in the inner and in the physical. But the reason I didn't get any sleep last night, well, let's just talk about yesterday. So, I get up yesterday. I go sun gaze. I go listen to some, they call them sound baths, some chakra tones and frequencies. And, before I like fully went through this change or went through embracing this newfound feeling in me, embracing that, or finally accepting that God is real. I had to, look into these chakras and try to really understand what all that means. Because I've seen it before, but I just never really paid attention to it. Just always, I don't even know how I was looking at it. I guess I was looking at it, just looking at it like some weird stuff, not really respecting what it meant to when a person tells you they're spiritual. I always took it as, something to tell somebody when you don't want to tell them you go to church every Sunday. Like, I'm not religious, I'm spiritual. Like I know God's real and I went to church when I was younger, but now that I'm an adult and I'm not obligated to go, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. And it's just so far from the truth, It's just so far from the truth. And it's like now my realization and my understanding, understanding, overstanding, whatever stand you prefer in your vocabulary, that the way to God to me is through spirituality, is to look within to find him in the outer world, so to say, because he is an extension of you and you are an extension of him. So we as people should not be so alarmed when someone says that I am God, because they are. They are God made in his image. We are all his children, right? So we must look like God, right? We must have God within us. And that's what I've been taking from that. And I just want to apologize if I ever offended anybody on a religious level, because that was not my intention, or ever was my intention, because I look at religion as a form of control and a form of structure. And in some people's lives, when whatever drew them to God, or whatever drew them to Jesus, or whatever drew them to get their life together, that person might have needed that structure and that control that religion provides. Because of them discovering whatever kind of person they are and whatever they needed to get to the goal. Because the goal is to get to God and find the God within you and have that relationship and that communication. So I just want to apologize to anybody that might have taken me telling my perspective of what went on when he talked to me, or when his angels, or however the communication was relayed to me, because I was saying that he wasn't, telling me to go to church. He wasn't telling me to grab a Bible. He wasn't telling me to do those things. It's not to say that God didn't recognize that someone else might have needed those words to bring them closer to him. Somebody else might have needed that church to bring them closer to him. And he might have recognized in me that I might not necessarily need that to come to him. It's a rainy, drizzly day. It's not as sunny. I mean, it's still bright, but it's not as crazy sunny as it's been the last couple of days. Started to get spoiled, but it'll be right back. I looked at the 7-day forecast. That heat will be right back on our necks. So, being as though it's Saturday and it's, I guess, that time of the season, all of the rowing, the rowing competitions, or boat rowing teams are out and on the weekends, and more frequently during the week just to practice and stuff. But Saturday is like the big day where like they're out here with all the tents and all the RVs and all that. You can hear the people cheering on their colleges, or their loved ones. But since I've started this journey of spirituality and looking within, I've come to enjoy the rain more. I look at it like a cleansing cycle, or just like a way that the divine source gives you an opportunity to expel emotions with him or with his help. Because people feel like rain and all that puts you in a somber mood. I used to feel that way, like, you know, the day is blown because it's raining. But you need water to live. You need the rain to come to carry the seeds of the harvest, to fertilize the foundation that you plan to build on. And I appreciate that more. I've been appreciating a lot of things a lot more that I took for granted. I'm grateful to have all my limbs and extremities working, functional, pain-free. I've been grateful for my health, even though it's always been a focus of mine. Before I even realized why it was a focus of mine, I just always wanted to be flawless, I guess, in some sort of sense. Like, wanted my insides as pure as the day that I entered this reality. Even though I knew that was completely unrealistic, I still strive for it, or strive for a version of it. And now, you know, being that I'm 43, I'm happy. I'm happy to be in the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual condition that I am in right now. I've also been just, you know, like when I get up, I like to express my gratitude to God for opening my eyes, putting the breath in my lungs, the hearing in my ears, the sight in my eyes, the taste in my mouth, and the sensation of touch that is in my skin. Because there are people out here that may have lost that, or may not have that functioning at the level that it was functioning when they entered the world. Whether through their fault or no fault of their own, right? Also, just begin to appreciate the quiet of nature, the purposes of trees, and the oxygen they give, and the shade And then it also made me think about things that, you know, kind of went missing from my childhood, you know. Like being out here in the park, I'm like finally seeing dandelions again, you know what I mean? I don't see the ones that we used to pick and just blow all the, you know, furry stuff off of it. Like I don't see them as much, but it's just good to start seeing the yellow, the little yellow ones, because, you know, society conditioned us to believe those were weeds. They were something bad. When actually they're a herb that can heal and have a purpose. And that also made me start to appreciate every life in the world. Because if God bought it here, it has some sort of purpose. Not sort of purpose, but it has a purpose. It has something in the divine plan, the grand scheme of all this. Because somebody could have been walking this earth lost. And then that one encounter with someone that found their purpose and awareness could change their life. And they were meant to have that encounter. And that person sparked life into the person that was lost. And I hope and I pray to be that person for someone. But yeah, you know, so I'm up yesterday, you know, doing my sun gazing. I'm listening to the chakras. I'm saying my affirmations. You know, the things I feel in my soul that God is blessing me with. Whether I foresee or unforesee the miracles happening behind the scenes. Then I go to the gym. I probably had my best day at the gym since I started going, as far as like energy exerted to build my body up. Like I was really full of good energy and I was in there going the hardest I've gone. And that in turn had my ass falling asleep in the car, just nodding, right? Like I went down to the waterfront by the bridge, you know, ate me a little Wendy's biggie bag, which, you know, people who know me know I don't want to play with no fast food, but he's blessing me to eat something during this time. It's not my budget to be trying to filet mignon it. So I just got a chicken fillet. Crispy chicken. He didn't turn my water into wine. He turned it into strawberry lemonade. And I was just as tipsy off that as any wine that could have been provided. But I was just really thinking, like, man, those chakra sounds really, you know, like when you watch a focused one on a focused particular chakra, it was just like, you know, very relaxing, very, very, very calming, very, you know, like who knew I would enjoy or needed this, like. Why is this not being taught or looked into deeper? Just listening to frequencies and letting those vibrations of those frequencies, being as though we're 80 to 90% water, heal us. Because they say when you take medication, you know, you're thinking you're taking a medicine. Like when you go to like get some of this processed medication, so to say. Because any medicine I've seen in the world that's delivered to us by God, it's never been white. Like, you know. So that kind of lets you know, like, there was some man-made resin attached to herbs and synthetic chemicals to make this medicine, right? But I was watching something that explained it to me like, you think medicine heals you or cures you or gets rid of your symptoms, when in actuality, when you take these medications or whatever you want to call them, these pharmaceuticals, that really is just changing a frequency inside your body I guess that kind of, you know, changes the environment around whatever is ailing you at the time or whatever you're feeling. Changes the frequency and the chemical imbalance of that area, and you feel like you're healed, but the body is healing itself. It does need assistance from the Creator, but they can't profit off the Creator's work, so they got to make up something synthetic that provides a false frequency inside you to help you feel better. So yeah, I'm down there at the bridge or whatever. I done ate this biggie bag. I done smoked the cigarette. I'm just listening to different motivational or inner knowledge type of videos. Just trying to learn more about myself and figure out where that what those things will be pointing me towards in this outer world. And I started to doze off. And the next thing I know, I'm surrounded by cops, firefighters, rail workers, all types of stuff, right? I'm not necessarily me personally surrounded, but I was the only car down there at that time, and I hear like what the heck is going on, right? So I'm thinking it was a fire or something, or you know. So I'm looking for smoke because you know it's firemen out there. I'm looking for smoke. I don't see it, you know. And I started to lean back down, and the next thing I know, more cars. One just like the way he pulled up, it was like he almost hit me, and he parked like he had no intentions of parking straight, and he hopped right out and said, "Did they jump? Where they jump at?" And I said, "Jump." That made me hop out my car. Somebody jumped off the bridge. So I'm looking around now. I see why all the police is on the boardwalk, why the fire trucks is out there. Now I'm seeing helicopters. Now the cops are holding these sticks like, you know, to pull somebody out the water if they see them, or pull something out the water. I see the speed line up there just stuck, or not stuck, but stopped like almost halfway across the bridge. Sergeant comes up to me because I guess he knew that I was the only car out here and asked me, did I see somebody jump? And y'all startled me. I was nodding, you know, not nodding like dope fiend nodding, but you know, nodding off like I needed a nap from that hard ass workout, you know. You know, got the itis from the biggie bag, which was really a little bag, but we ain't gonna get into that. And I'm seeing all this commotion. I'm looking over to the Philly side. I'm seeing all the ambulances and everything. And no one really confirmed if someone jumped, if someone landed, or if someone was recovered. But they was out there, so something happened, right? And just really quickly made me reflect on everything I thought was the ultimate pains, the ultimate hurts, the ultimate whatever I was going through at whatever stage in my life that I was going through something up until present day that I'm at that time might have felt like this is the worst thing ever and I'll never recover from it. And then I recover from it and stronger and better than ever. I just always, it just flashed through me right there like what was so horrible or what was so bad that a person was ready to jump off the cliff. I mean, jump off the bridge and be ready to end it. Or anyone, through any situation, any suicide, any thing like that. Because, you know, what could ever be so bad to make you want to end this in your life? Then I just thank God that I've never had those feelings, or I've never ever been to that point, even though when I felt as though that I was at my lowest or my most vulnerable to be, you know, consumed by some sort of evil spirit or emotion that could make a person want to end it. Because it was like, even though as I was walking the earth for these 43 years without a real true purpose. I never encountered the, well, maybe I did. But it was probably just a thought, not nothing sincerely considered to commit suicide or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna sit up here and say I never thought about it. But I just never could fathom me taking my life because of anything. Like it's never that serious. I hope. I don't know. We can't ask people who go through it because they're not here. Like, they're gone. Like, what was so bad that you just had to end it? However you had to end it. And it was clear to me, like, even in a person's suicide, they are still crying out for help. Because to jump off a bridge is almost the same as to tell. It's still like a cry out for help. Like, it's still like a last ditch attempt that I hope somebody tackles me before I jump off this bridge, or I hope someone busts in the door before I slit my wrist, or I hope someone is there and the gun jams when I'm pointing it at my head to try to blow my brains out, and they get a hold of me or get a hold of the gun or whatever. Like, it's still some form of your soul crying out for help to take such a grand stand to end your life. It just, to me, just feels like you really didn't wanna, but something pushed you to that point. And I just be grateful that nothing has ever pushed me to the point that I want to even entertain taking my own life, right? So, you know, all those police and all the whatever, it was just too much energy going on down there for me. Not the kind of energy that I wanted to be around. So I left. Got ghost, came back to my more familiar park and text a couple people and tell them, like, yo, it's crazy down here. I don't know what's going on. But I came, back to my normal 1-2. And I'm sitting in a car, parked up, got my feet up. I'm like, my goal was to take a nap because I didn't get to take the nap. I even felt more tired from them, like, startling me out of dozing off than I was before I started to doze off, just from being tired from the gym. So that was my intentions, to take a nap. But it was, very crowded, very nice day, and I just couldn't get to sleep. So the other day, being as though I know that, walking in faith does not mean be stupid, that I don't need an income regardless of what journey I'm on, right? So I was like, you know, I decided to drive Lyft, sign up for it, drive Lyft. You know, I filled out other applications and things like that, but you know, them lucrative positions, they always take a long time to respond. So it wasn't looking like I wasn't thinking that I was just going to get something overnight type of deal, right? So, you know, this Lyft stuff went through. Yeah, you're all set to drive, blah, 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 right? So my buddy said, yo, come to my crib. We're going to detail the whip, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? I got the stuff here. Let you get to it so you can have a good first step in trying this out, right? And why I wanted to try it out is I felt like it was that part of that extension of me wanting to spread kindness and be nice to people, and it'll give me a way of practicing to some degree of talking to strangers and just getting energy and vibes from them to see how my heightened awareness is going amongst people that I have never seen or never met ever in my life, right? So, you know, detail the whip, you know what I mean? Wash it all good. Move all the stuff around. Get the back seat all emptied out and all that. I was like, man, it brought my car back to life, man. You know? It's got to be Lyft Luxury or Uber Supreme. So, yeah, we do that. You know, checking out the second day of the draft. And I was telling him like how much more different the first to the second day looks. It's like some teams went from the big lavish executive conference room to the one downstairs in the basement. With only a few people. General manager is now not in a suit. He's in his regular normal polo and khaki look, you know, the State Farm look, I like to call it. So, you know, the plan was to start driving in the morning and start doing whatever, you know, picking up rides, seeing how this goes or how it works. But I couldn't for the life of me go to sleep. Like, it's like my sleep was broken. I couldn't get to sleep. So I said around like 12:30, I said, you know what? I'm going to just go do this now. And that's what I did. So, you know, my very first pickup ever was a very studious couple, so to say, coming from a wedding at a banquet. They wasn't saucy, but they, they sipped a little. They laughed a lot. They ate exotically or abundantly, right? So, they get in the car. The lady looks like she looks like the Devil Wears Prada, wherever, I forget the lady's name, that actress, she looked like a version of her. And the guy looked at like somebody that could have played on Mad Men. If you're familiar with the TV show, he looked like one of the ad guys, one of the ad execs, maybe a Roger or an older gray Don Draper type, right? And they get in and it's hello, hope y'all had a good night. Let's get y'all home safely now, And I go into quiet mode, let them, enjoy the ride, reflect on their night and all that, And that first encounter with them, it just kind of let me know, like, being that old version of myself and maybe seeing these people on the street, I would not probably think that they were the way they were. Like, they weren't stuck up, snobby, or cut off, or like you could tell they had that Philly grit in them, but they also had that bit of mature humanity in them. Like, we've been here a while, we know the world, we know everything is not surface level kind of energy that I was getting from them. And it was actually, pleasant to hear how they talked and in the manner that they talked, because I could tell that they weren't really trying to like put on a front for me. This black guy that came and picked them up with his plaits all out, 12:30, almost 1 a.m. in the morning, right? Expecting to get them home in a safe manner, right? They were just genuinely being themselves and reflecting on the night and reflecting on seeing people that they might not have seen in a while and how the service and the food was and all that. And it was just good to see that, not to be judging books by their covers. Like, just say hello. Say how you doing. See how that tone comes out. See what that body language says. Mine's and theirs, right? So I get them home safely, and I let them know I appreciate y'all for, taking this ride with me, and I want to let you guys know that y'all are my first official drop off. And they were genuinely happy and excited for me. They got me out the car. The guy gave me a hug. The woman gave me a nice handshake, and I told them, get in the house and rest and relax the rest of your evening away. And it was great, right? He pointed me in a direction where I could get back to the highway as quick as possible, because it was a nice little drive or ride for where they were going, where they lived from downtown Philly. And I thanked them and went on about my way, and I got the alerts for other rides in the area, and I was like, nah, let me get back downtown, So I get back downtown, and my next ride I accepted was for a an upscale hotel downtown. Someone, nice young lady getting off work, just looking to basically start and enjoy her evening. And she had to, I guess she did a double take to, I guess my car wasn't the car she was kind of expecting to pick her up, I guess. I don't know. But she got in. She was very nice. She was polite. A lot of lights to get to her crib. A lot of city traffic bullcrap, so to say. She might have lived 2 miles away from where she worked, but being as though it was in a city and every other block is a light and every pothole or detour or whatever to get to a specific area, made that 2-mile drive just 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? When it should have just been whoop, whoop. And I was just going with the motions, using this app, seeing how I go, trying to follow the directions, seeing how it's telling me what to go and all that. And she was, it's people drunk in other cars, riding along Broad Street with us, yelling and beeping, and people on bikes, and it ain't no bike lane, and it was interesting, you know what I mean? And, she asked me how my night been, have I ran into any, drunk retards and all that type of stuff, and I was like, no, unfortunately I haven't, and hopefully I won't. But then I let her know, you are officially my second pickup ever. And again, she was thought, what? Oh my gosh, really? You're a newbie. And she gave me 5 stars and a tip. And, she didn't have to. But I was appreciative. I told her, go start your night or your weekend and thank you. And I pull off. And it was pulling off, going back up towards City Hall from, South Philly area. I'm getting dings for other rides, and I decide to take one. Once I got like, closer to City Hall, where I decided to take one. Ooh. And I get to like, I guess, an area where it's like a bunch of clubs or a bunch of something is going on, something rooftop party, or just area where it's a couple of clubs or whatever. And I was like, man, kind of missed this a little bit, that energy of just people that had a good time, and they're now, in their let out energy, their parking lot pimping energy, so to say. I was like, man, I remember this. This feels familiar. But again, there's detours and cops blocking all streets. So, the ride I set that they had to kind of walk to my car to get us, because there was just no way that I was going to be able to turn around, or, it would have been like another 20 minutes before they got in the car, Like, that's how packed and how much was going on down there. And, it was two guys, you know what I mean? Basically, like, going a whole nother direction up. It was like I took a whole tour of the city in these couple of rides, these first tester rides that I did, you know what I mean? And they're being friendly, they're asking me questions, I'm trying to leave them alone, like, oh no, I'm chilling, I'm trying to navigate this traffic, blah blah blah. They like, oh, it ain't been no bad night, right? Nah, you guys are officially my third pickup ever. What? Say it ain't so, bro. Oh, don't worry, we got you. We're gonna give you good ratings. We're gonna get you. Thanks, fellas. I appreciate that. Let me get y'all home safely, because it's starting to rain and it's starting to, So I get them to their spot, wherever. And now I'm feeling a little, I'm definitely feeling the tiredness. It was like, man, do I want to take any more rides, or do I just want to go back to Jersey? So I get closer and closer, and I'm just looking for something that may be like, short. Nope. I chose this ride that ended up being, a double drop off, so to say. And I pick up these two young ladies from Old City, and they was still in full club mode, you know what I mean? They were still in full just leaving the scene, and they reflecting on the night, and reflecting on the vibes and energies they encountered, and the promiscuous behavior or that was going on. And it was like, I'm trying not to listen. I'm trying not to be nosy. I didn't want to even try to turn up the radio or nothing. Be really, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just trying to let them enjoy the ride and pretend that I ain't here. Like, they just riding in this autonomous vehicle, and I'm just looking to get them there and shit. And that ride was probably the longest ride of the night. It was like, always the Always the last one. So they busting it up. They running it down, and it was like, man, I felt like I was in like Taxi Cab Confessions or something. Like they were talking wild, as wild as they were willing to talk in front of me. They probably could have got, it was like PG-17, or when it could have went NC-17 or R-rated or whatever, right? But it was like, I always loved that camaraderie between women, just to make sure that each other is safe. Because again, once I drop one off, the other's in the car by myself with me, and it was like, I could understand just from some of the Looney Tunes out here that may have committed things that were Uber or Lyft drivers or whatever. So I always appreciated how women cared for each other to make sure that they got home, and or stay on the phone with me or whatever, right? And I always thought like, man, why don't guys look out for each other like that? I mean, y'all do, but y'all, like, all right, nigga, get home safe. All right, you know what I mean? Hit me up, make sure you got there, yeah. And if they don't hit you up, it ain't like you hitting them up. They're like, yo, you made it home safe? It just be like in the morning, like, was you all right? They could be whole dead. And it was like, you all right? You made it, right? All right, yeah. You hit a curb or something? Yeah. Oh, you just passed out of the car? But you made it. I knew you'd be all right. I knew you survived, nigga. I knew you survived. Give me a pound. So now it's starting to pour. And I was like, man, it's raining. It's a nice rain too. Let me hurry up and get to my little spot and chill out. I'm expecting nobody to be there. It's like 3:30, 3:45 in the morning now. I'm dead tired now. I'm just like, you probably see it all. I was dead tired. Like I might have got 3-4 hours maybe. But I get to the park, it's packed. It's like almost nowhere to park. I'm like, what the hell is going on down here? A lot of smoochy car humping going on. It's about like, this is not normal. Or this hasn't been normal since I've been out here. Like, it'd be some people out there with me, like, some regulars, some not, but they do come out, and they be out there for hours at a time in the middle of the night. But this one particular night, last night, I just happened to pop up because I'm hearing sounds, and it's like, so it's like, sound I'm hearing is almost like a commercial, like a TV commercial. But I'm looking around, I just see all dark. I don't see, like, the cars next to me are like, fuck am I hearing? I know it's not my phone, Pass back out. then I hear like, if you want to get you some older women, blah, 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 call this porn line and blah, blah, blah. And then it goes, I was like, probably like, oh man, this motherfucker over here whacking off or something. He get the fuck, go somewhere else. Like, dude, like, what the fuck? You came to the park to whack off or something? Like, or watch porn on your phone? Like, what the hell? You know, we get the fuck out. Like, why I had to park here? Like, you know, it's like, as soon as I turn my lights and turn the car all the way on and it brighten it up, you know, I don't know. I just know I had to go. It was like, it was an experience for a first night doing that, and I just felt good, like, you know, as far as like trying to use my social awareness and basically like cultivate my social skills with strangers, and even though, you know, you're trying to limit that interaction just to let them enjoy their ride and get home and not have to, you know, have to bust it up with a stranger. But it felt good. So yeah, I guess today's message is to get out there and interact. Don't judge a book by its cover. Don't take things for such face value or your first inclination, because it might not always be right, you know? It costs you nothing to be kind. It costs you nothing to be nice. In fact, there's almost like a spiritual income that comes with it for you to spread general love to someone. So again, I would like to thank all the supporters. I would like to thank all the new subscribers. I would like to thank all the returning viewers, even if you don't subscribe, you just tuning in because maybe you're getting something out of this, or maybe you just mess with the, you know, my vibe, or you know, how I'm giving it up. Love is love. It's all appreciated. Sincerely. Because y'all got to think, y'all are taking this journey with me. Whether I know you're taking this journey with me or not, I'm sharing it with you. So you're here with me in spirit. Like you're just as prevalent to this as God is, because he drew you guys to me to watch me through this journey or help me along the way of this journey. So just want to thank y'all for being here, you dig? So probably going to end off on that, you know. I done already got y'all here for an hour just blabbing. But again, the Hold Up Show at gmail.com. Reach out. Is there any topics, anything you want to talk about on your deeper connection level, or of something that, you know, you will want me to expand upon on spirituality, and it's not like I'm an expert or nothing like that. I could just tell you what I'm rawly feeling as far as like this new sensations, and then just trying to put that into words, and, you know, interactions and questions always help. So it's your boy Hoom Boom, and this is the Hold Up Show. Peace and love to everybody.